Hi, I'm your host David, and welcome to another episode of The Edge, a Leaders Show. We're happy to have with us Hayley Mullins, the co-founder of JoeyBand. Welcome, Hayley.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's nice to have you with us. So, to start us off, can you tell us what sparked your interest in producing such a product as JoeyBand?
We like to say it was less of a spark and more of a thud. When my daughter was born, she was placed skin to skin immediately after birth. 2 weeks to the day she was born, she was at home on my chest. It was a beautiful moment. I took my hands off of her for a split second, and she fell and hit the floor. My husband and I went to the emergency room thinking, oh my God, we're unfit parents. They're going to take her away from us. And the doctor looked at us and said, this happens all the time. So not wanting it to happen again, I bought every product on the market: wraps, carriers, slings, baby wearing shirts, and nothing did what I wanted it to do, which was to simply hold my daughter in that proper skin to skin position. So it really came out of a personal place, a personal need. And when we brought it to life, within days of launching the product, we had an email from La Leche League International saying that they had found it and they were endorsing it in their next book. And we also had our very first hospital inquiry. So we really realized that there was definitely a need for something like this.
Well, that's very interesting. You mentioned skin to skin. In your opinion, why is skin to skin contact important between a mother and a newborn infant?
Oh my goodness, it's so important. So many reasons. There's everything from temperature regulation, blood sugar stability, heart rate, brain growth, feeding. If a mother's choosing to breastfeed, the success is going to be much greater if mom is practicing skin to skin with other parents, with the partner, the bonding. You know, if dad does skin to skin for 30 minutes uninterrupted on the day that the baby is born, their brain rewires to bond to their baby. So mom's carried the baby for 9 months. Dad has that ability, or other partner has that ability to bond to the baby the same way, just through skin to skin. And my favorite stat, as a new mom, every new parent would feel the same way, is that babies held skin to skin are 12 times less likely to cry.
Well, that's very interesting. So what did you want to solve by inventing such a product? Like, what problem did you want to solve or resolve by inventing such a product?
So when a baby is born, you're their natural habitat. They want to be on you. They want to feel your warmth. They want to smell you. They want to hear your heartbeat. They've just lived inside mom for the past 9 months. That's where they're happy. That's where they're comfortable. And while wraps, carriers, slings, baby wearing shirts, they all do an amazing job of keeping baby close. When baby's in that proper skin to skin position, which is, upright between the breasts, straight up and down, there's nothing that just holds them there snugly with that elastic pull to keep them comfortable while you're sitting, while you're reclined. Lots of great products out there for walking around, but there was nothing that just kept them there when you were seated, recovering, resting, which moms really should be doing for those first few weeks especially.
That's very interesting. So in your opinion, how does JoeyBand differ, let's say, from a traditional sling, wrap, or carrier?
Oh my goodness, so many ways. So number one, we can use the JoeyBand in the operating room for C-section moms right on the table. It can be laid flat underneath mom before the baby is born, and we can wrap and secure baby on mom right on the table. That can't be done with any other product. It's perfect for all hospital settings. C-section, like I just said, the NICU with singletons, twins, triplets. It's great for postpartum, and it's really great for at home. And I think the best way to illustrate the difference is to actually show you the difference in the product with the JoeyBand versus a wrap or a carrier. So wraps, carriers, slings, those traditional baby wearing products, they all go over the shoulders, and they go, they're meant for walking around. So they're meant to support weight. This is like a soft, stretchy hug for mom and baby, and it's simply and fast, which is important when you've got a crying baby at home.
Right.
Wraps around, secures, and we tuck baby right in here. So nothing over the shoulders, no belts, buckles, clips, digging in. It's really soft, it's comfortable, and it's easy.
Well, that's certainly feasible. Thank you so much, Hayley, for joining us for this interview. We really appreciate your time and telling us more about JoeyBand. We're happy to have with us Sarah Cox, the co-founder of JoeyBand. Welcome, Sarah, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's nice to have you too. Can you tell us about JoeyBand and what makes it unique?
Absolutely. So JoeyBand is an FDA-registered Class 1 medical device. It's used by hospitals all over the world. It's great for NICU settings, so think singletons, twins, triplets. It's great for use directly on the OR table, so C-section patients where traditionally it's a more challenging environment to be able to do skin to skin. And then it's also great for postpartum. The thing that makes JoeyBand unique is it's not a carrier, it's not for co-sleeping. And when we say that it's designed for everybody, we mean everybody. So whether it's the birthing person, a partner, a grandparent, the adaptive parenting community. So think of parents who may be in a wheelchair, who may have cerebral palsy or ALS. Because there's no zippers, hooks, or buttons on the JoeyBand, and it uses Velcro, so it supports more of a macro movement for that patient population. And then we also have a bariatric size, which stretches to about 7.5 feet wide. So there's not a patient or a member of the family that we can't support.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah. Obviously, you're getting a lot of client bases. Can you tell us more about your client base and who actually is interested in purchasing such a product?
Absolutely. So about 90% of our revenue comes from the hospital healthcare sector. So hospitals are looking to do skin to skin right after birth. It's called the golden hour. And there's so many clinical outcomes that are associated with skin to skin. The challenge with doing skin to skin is that we're trying to do it in some care settings that may not be designed to do that practice. And so when you think of, for example, the OR table, mom is in surgery, she's sedated, she could be nauseous and uncomfortable. And traditionally what would happen is you would have caregivers or staff, clinical staff, trying to hold a baby on mom's chest. And so then you think of the pain and discomfort that causes for the staff, the inefficiencies around it. And so JoeyBand is a device that can go right underneath mom and keep that baby nice and secure. And so hospitals are using it not only in the OR, but again for their NICU patients. So one of my favorite examples of neonatal intensive care use is, so think of the sickest, smallest babies, so babies who would be in the cardiac ICU, for example. Some of these babies are very tiny, they just had open heart surgery. Skin to skin is such an important practice for that population too, when you look at stabilizing heart rate and lowering cortisol levels. And so that would be a really challenging thing to do for those babies. And so JoeyBand is used by some of the leading cardiac ICUs in the world to help facilitate that setting. So healthcare is first and foremost our priority. We're trying to change that standard of care for patients and their families. Then we also have it available online and through different boutiques and distributors for consumers to be able to purchase themselves.
Well, that's very interesting. Can you tell us about what challenges, obviously, did you face when you created such a product?
Oh my goodness, there's a few challenges. I think there are larger ones that a lot of women entrepreneurs would resonate with. So first of all, being a team of all women co-founders, traditionally women founders receive less financial support. And not just financial support, are celebrated less. So that's always an obstacle. We chose to bootstrap early on. So we have 100% control of our company. We've been able to grow at our own speed, and it's really allowed us to be able to give back to communities in ways I think that we may not be able to had we been owned by some other players. But certainly the first and foremost, you want to address the funding. The second layer of that is healthcare is just a notoriously difficult area to build a business in because the sales cycles are longer, slower. You have to have clinical data to be able to back the device. You have to go through device registration. It's not like a consumer product. Those tend to take off a little bit faster. So when you're in healthcare, you're in it for the long haul. The third part would be women's health. Women's health is just a completely neglected area of healthcare. It has been historically. We're seeing a lot of really great organizations. The Gates Foundation are putting money. World Health Organization is screaming from the rooftops about women's health and the importance of it. And it just presents a really huge economic growth for the market. And so we're starting to see more of that now. But when we first started this company, women's health was just notoriously neglected as well. And then I would say patents. 17% of women are patent holders. And so navigating that process, ensuring that because we are patented globally, we were in a position where, again, as a bootstrap company, we were fortunate to be able to get that completed. And the way that we built our company was once we had the patents and we had it in market, hospitals started collecting data on the product, on the device right away. Whereas traditionally you would have to raise, millions of dollars to be able to get data collected on your device to prove that it's commercialized and ready for market. So all those challenges were there. We just tried to circumvent them in different ways. But I would say those are some of the primary.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, you faced a lot of challenges, and many entrepreneurs are watching us, and they wanted to know perhaps what if they wanted to start a business like you? What could they do? What advice would you give other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm someone who really struggles with blanketed advice. There's the cliches that we all hear and, focusing, don't forget your why and your passion. And those are cliches for a reason because they're true. I think when you're looking at starting a company and building a company, one of the most important, and again, it depends on the individual, the sector that you're building in. All of that advice is specific, but one of the biggest values for us has been our community, especially how we chose to build our business. And so we chose intentionally to surround ourselves with kind people who knew how to help us and wanted to roll up their sleeves to help us. We're so grateful for our team and the people that we have around us, our co-founders. That relationship is just so important. They become your ride or dies. They see you on your best days and they see you on your worst days. And so really ensuring that you have an open communication with your founders if you have founders. The other thing that I would add is it's truly a marathon. We've all heard the saying that it takes 10 years to build an overnight success. There are some companies that can do it in a shorter time period than that. But it really is a marathon, not a sprint. And so I think mentally just preparing for that things are probably going to happen a little bit slower than what you anticipate. But yeah, those would be probably my top two.
Well, that's very interesting. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing with us your insights about JoeyBand. And to all our viewers, stay tuned to another episode of The Edge, a Leader's Show.